Okay, Mark Baird. Okay.
This reminds me kind of I hauled a load of relief supplies into Moscow in 1989 before communism fell. This kind of reminds me of that because in this big giant hotel they'd have these Communist Party meetings in English, so they were hoping the Westerners would all kind of listen and then think that was pretty cool and take these ideas home. This was a big apartment building, and they were trotting people up to the stage to tell what they had done for the party lately. And one lady said she swept the hall for 3 doors in either direction. One guy was talking about his dog manure. One guy was talking about picking up trash in the parking lot around the car park. And everybody that they thought did a good enough job, they'd give them a red badge and everybody would clap. And the people that they didn't think did a good enough job didn't get the applause. People would yell at them from the audience. And I know this kind of reminds me of that. I don't know why. Except for the red badges. Out of respect to Jim Morris and some of the other guys that spoke, Ms. Plank, these guys are good farmers. They know what they're doing. And they take care of their land, and they graze the riparian areas, and they do what's required for the land. I think that's really important here to take a look at. Individual liberty is important. Individual liberty is what dictates what happens in this country. I'd like to quote a line out of the California Brown Act. The citizens of the state of California do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies who are supposed to serve them. That's kind of an interesting line. Anyway, on our ranch, we're doing nothing that involves government money. We will accept no government money. What we are doing is not allowing the government on our property. Any government official found on our property without a site contact or a warrant will be prosecuted for trespassing. Now, in respect to Mike DeGay, who knows forestry, we have about 500 acres of timber, which we can't manage. And I won't even try to get the permit. It's impossible to get them. You wouldn't make any money off it. So now what we have is an overabundance of weed trees, one lightning strike that's going to burn to the ground, and then the erosion will go where it will. And we won't be able to stop it. It's too much to stop. So these are the things we need to address, and we can address them individually. The government will not address them properly, cannot address them properly, and quite frankly, I don't need them or want them to address it. We have the individual right to our property and the use of that property. It's guaranteed to us in the Constitution of the United States. I demand those guarantees be honored, and I won't accept less from the government that serves me. Power is derived from the people. The government serves one purpose, and that is to protect the rights of the people. Thank you.
Mark, I didn't think you could do it, but you did it good. Thank you.
I didn't say pot,
But what you said was good, too. Okay, Felice is next. Now, before you come, Felice, does anyone else want to speak? Are you going to fill out a card? Okay, well, you better get it up here. All right. Where have I seen you before? Okay.
My name is Felice Pace. I moved here in 1975. Still own a home in Etna and raised a couple kids here. I live down at near the mouth of the Klamath right now at Klamath Glen, about 3 miles up. If you're down that way, look me up. It was really a pleasure to be here today and to hear from the landowners who have been doing lots of good stuff, and a lot of it on their own. And I've known these guys, and there's other guys that are out there, and women, and youngins, who do it all on their own, without any government money, without any help from anybody. They just do it because they think it's their responsibility to take care of their stream, and their land, and the rest of it, and their family. So. But it's always seemed to me like, why are we protecting the people that don't do that? There's some people out there, and you guys know, most of you know, not all of you know, that don't care about their stream, that trash it, that when there's a flood, get on there, and it's happened right here, 2 places, East Fork and Moffett Creek. After the 97 flood, they got on their cats and bulldozed the channel. Now, we know I don't think anybody here would say that's good management, but there's people who do it. So there's good stewards and there's bad stewards. You know, I mean, we're fallen, if you want to use Christian analogy, we're fallen people, and so there's going to be good stewards and bad stewards out there. And why do we want to protect the bad stewards from having to take their responsibility and not, you know, impose costs on the rest of us? Not impose costs on the rest of us, because we all depend on that water, and I think we all have a stake in it. I think we're all stakeholders in the water. It doesn't come, it's not yours, it's not mine, it comes from God and from the mountains. One of the things I wanted to do here today, because I thought I really I always enjoy people expressing their rights and getting out there and protesting. That's why I wore my Democracy Now! Hat today, and I honor you people for exercising your rights. I thought I might, because you might be interested, want to hear what the environmentalists really want, because I heard some people talking about they think they know what the environmentalists want. So I thought I'd just take a second to say what it is. And I can't speak for all environmentalists, but I can tell you what I want. I want to be able to swim in the Scott River in the 25 miles or so below the valley and not have to worry about getting sick. I want to be able to boat without obstruction anywhere on the Scott River. I want to be able to catch a fish in the Scott River and not be afraid to eat it. I want summer steelhead, coho, spring chinook, and fall chinook to be able to survive and thrive in this river basin. I would like to see my neighbors take responsibility for keeping the streams that flow through their property in properly functioning condition. I would like to see the bad actors offered the choice of either cleaning up their act or paying ongoing progressive fines. I mean, if we're going to have the law, if it's not a good law, let's get rid of it. If it's a law, let's enforce it. I really get upset about differential enforcement, and I think a lot of you out there get upset about that too. I want the public trust in water to be protected and respected just like property rights. The public trust, I believe in property rights. I also believe we all have a stake in the water and that it's a public trust, and our duty as stewards to take care of it. You know, that's what I want. And I just want to say there's a couple of problems here. 100% of the funding, you know, for what the RCD has done, nearly 100%. There's some private money in there and volunteer time. But the funding has come from outside Scott Valley, outside Siskiyou County. As your supervisor pointed out a few weeks ago in the paper, you know, we'd be way bankrupt if we didn't have money flowing into this county from outside. Let's face it, in the U.S., that money is not going to be there for a while. So how are we going to do this? We need to rethink our restoration, and we need to think about, you know, what Aldo Leopold said in the Sand County Almanac. He said the first rule of intelligent tinkering with nature is to do no harm. You know, we got to stop doing the harm, because we can't afford to be spending all this money fixing things that have been harmed. So we have to, I think, require that, you know, all of us take responsibility like the people we heard from today. And not just the farmers. So that's all I got to say. Thank you. She used to be my counselor, too.
I don't need this one. Okay. Thank you, Felice. I don't think you're going to get too much disagreement there. Peter Thamer. Back from your music tour, huh? How'd that go?
We all survived. No major injuries and no jail time, so Hey everybody. Thanks for letting me come up here and talk. I got just one little example case study I'd like to talk about, and as an example, I think of a positive vision forward. First off, Peter Thamer, we live up Wildcat Creek, and part of our property has is on both sides of Wildcat Creek, and we also divert water from Sugar Creek, and we were part of a project working with RCD and Gary Black in piping our ditch and totally reducing all of our transmission loss. And so we now, because of our cooperation with them, have gravity flow, high pressure water, and at the same time we're giving water with the in-stream dedication back to the creek. So that was a win-win project that was funded by government money. And so right now we have water on the property, and not much else is going on because we're pretty overwhelmed with farming, and I'm kind of the guy trying to make it happen. So that's sort of my role in what's going on locally, but I've studied environmental science at Santa Clara, finished that 3 years ago, and for 4 months of my studies I spent doing field research and restoration ecology in Australia, and that's the example I wanted to talk about. There, if you've heard of Australia, you've probably heard of the Great Barrier Reef. It's one of their biggest tourist assets, and a lot of people go and spend a lot of money to swim around and check out the fish, go fishing, take pictures, do whatever. Anyhow, it's a big asset for Australia. And I think it was 10 or 15 years ago, they started noticing a lot of the coral was dying because of upstream activity. Different cattle ranches and dairies and farms had erosion that were negatively affecting the coral. And so the government realized that this is such an asset to their economy, keeping this pristine environment and keeping that tourism economy going, that they looked at how to collaborate with people upstream and how to reduce the negative impacts on the entire country's economy. And it was only through collaboration that they resolved the problem, and that their, whole country, not that tourism's their whole thing, but it's a big part of what they do over there. So I guess why I'm trying to talk about this is that I think that though we are the landowners in this region, there's a lot of people that benefit, like Felicia was saying, downstream with, with healthy water, with clean water, with healthy fish populations. And what we're doing here directly impacts the entire system. But my perspective is that we shouldn't be the only ones burdening the entire cost of the corrections, because we're not the only ones receiving the benefits. So I think it's completely honorable to be completely independent and not relying on government money, and just to be doing the right thing and to be making it happen on your own. But I think if people have to do expensive projects on their property to make changes to benefit the water quality and fish populations and such, I think that the entire fishing industry, populations downstream, experiencing the benefits of what we're doing up here, those people should also be paying into the system that is helping locally. So I do believe in free and independence, but I think, we all have to collaborate and cooperate and work together, because what we do on our property completely impacts the entire ecosystem and other individuals. So I guess I just like to say I'm glad we're here talking about this, trying to figure out how to make it work, and I definitely don't know enough about these issues to really have a great solution, but we just have to keep collaborating and cooperating. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. Isn't it neat to have some of our young people here?